how much of a stir was caused by the wedding of Prince Nikolaos of Greece and the Greek heiress Chrysi Vardinogiannis. Unlike the royal weddings we are accustomed to, this time the newlyweds surprised everyone with the simplicity of their ceremony and, above all, the haste with which they exchanged their vows. Just a month ago, they announced their engagement, and on January 16, hardly giving the press time to react, they made an official statement that they would be married at the altar of the Church of San Nicholas de Rangova, known as one of the oldest temples in Athens. The guest list did not exceed 60 people, an astonishingly modest number for someone from a royal family, and for the bride, who was one of the most influential heiresses in Greece, being the daughter of the powerful shipbuilder George Vardinogiannis. The bride's choice of dress was a creation by Greek designer Christos Kostarelos. The dress was a form-fitting model with a slender silhouette, consisting of a delicate lace layer worn over a flesh-colored underskirt. The lace was adorned with Swarovski crystals. The veil was plain. The bride completed her hairstyle with a tiara, which Queen Anne-Marie lent to her daughter-in-law on this momentous day. The antique tiara corset is one of the historical jewelry pieces associated with the royal family. This tiara was worn by her two daughters, Alexia and Theodora, at official events and during important moments. However, the antique tiara acquired special significance, becoming the wedding talisman of the family, since Anne-Marie always lends it to her daughters-in-law on the day of their wedding. Chrysi's wedding bouquet was a tribute to her mother-in-law and consisted exclusively of white lilies of the valley. The same bouquet was carried by Queen Anne-Marie when she married King Constantine in 1964. In 2023, when King Constantine was buried, Queen Anne-Marie placed a wreath of lilies of the valley on his grave. None of this, however, diminished the solemnity of the ceremony. Father Alexandros, who conducted the Orthodox service, later explained on the Greek television program Smile Again that the service lasted 45 minutes and was extremely emotional, featuring ritual crowns. In Greece, the classical rings are replaced by crowns or garlands, symbolizing the beginning of a new shared life. He even recounted that, at the conclusion of the service, rose petals mixed with the traditional rice were scattered, a moment filled with joy that became the true highlight of the religious event. What sparked the most discussion was the famous foot stomping performed by the bride, to signal that in the marriage she would have the final say in making important decisions. The bride declined to speak with journalists, but Nikolaos noted with satisfaction that Chrysi followed tradition and stepped on his foot in the church. The ever-charming, modest Chrysi, who in previous days had been seen hiding her face behind her hair, looked much more relaxed at that moment. Perhaps once one steps over the threshold of the altar, the tension accumulated during the rushed wedding preparations dissipates, giving way to a truly festive atmosphere. Speaking of the celebration, it is worth noting that although there was no lavish pre-wedding banquet with extravagance, after the ceremony the guests headed to the port of Piraeus for a banquet at Castor Place, a historic stone building dating back to 1900, which created the perfect atmosphere for an unforgettable dinner. The reception menu was as follows: fresh lobster with avocado, orange, and citrus sauce. Traditional Cretan pilaf. Ravioli with mushrooms, parmesan, and white truffle chips. Prime black Angus steak with baby carrots, potato puree, and asparagus. Traditional strawberry wedding cake. During the reception, guests were entertained by performers from Crete who played Cretan music and danced traditional Cretan dances. Chrysi's family, and she herself, comes from the island of Crete. Captain Georgios Vardinogiannis delivered an emotional speech during the wedding reception. He thanked Queen Anne-Marie and her family for their closeness. As I myself come from a strong and united family, However, what attracted the most public attention was not the modest guest list or the absence of major international nobility, most such as Frederick and Mary from Denmark or King Felipe and Letizia from Spain could not attend due to work commitments. Neither were Philip of Greece, his wife Nina, and some of Pablo's children from Greece, and Marie-Chantal Miller seen, but rather the speed with which everything was arranged. There was also much talk about the antique corsage diadem worn by the bride, the very same one that once belonged to Tatiana Blatnik, Nikolaos's first wife. This striking gesture stood out, especially considering that it is a family heirloom belonging to Queen Anne-Marie, who now crowned the new princess. At the conclusion of the Mass and once outside the church, another pleasant surprise awaited the guests. They were offered a taste of diplace, a traditional dessert from the Peloponnese made with thin dough, honey, crushed nuts, and cinnamon, as well as raki, a traditional Cretan drink made from the remnants of grapes after wine fermentation and reminiscent of brandy. With these sweet flavors, amusing stories from the day, and the excitement of such a sudden and astonishing union, the newlyweds set off to enjoy a small party with their closest friends and family, leaving Athens bathed in smiles as it celebrated yet another royal event that will be talked about for months to come. In the end, both Nikolaos and Chrysi know that, in Greece, love is experienced intensely, and every joy is celebrated to the fullest, even if with the modesty, or enigma, that always surrounds great families. For now, without a doubt, the wedding has already gone down in history, the second for both, and promises to be a topic for chroniclers for many months ahead. The truth is, while all attention is focused on the new Greek representative of the royal family, who has captured not only Nikolaos's heart but also the curiosity of everyone who follows royal news, it is impossible not to notice the keen gaze of her family, led by none other than Gorgos Vardinogiannis, a man capable of moving effortlessly between the worlds of business, sports footwear, and ancient European monarchy. Perhaps it was not an extravagant Greek wedding with hundreds of guests and excessive pomp, but undoubtedly the ceremony was full of stories, anecdotes, secrets, and cultural elements that remind us that every royal wedding is a little legend unfolding before our very eyes. How do you feel about this royal wedding? Did its simplicity surprise you, or did it seem stylish and elegant instead? Share your thoughts in the comments.